a lot of people want to build a base where Margaret's base is because it's in a strategically valuable location. The actual area itself, I mean, yeah, you could build where Maida's base is at. You can build on top of her base if you wanted, and then have sections of your base branching out to each of the tunnels, to where it's like, if I wanted to go to the vent garden, I can go out of this particular exit of my base, which involves me going down a couple ladders. I exit my base, and I'm already in the tunnel that's pointing to the vent garden. I can go back to my base, and then I can go to the other side where I'm going towards the crystal caverns. I mean, you could do that, but as far as like actual locations, a place where you want a base to be, where you can get creative and you can enjoy the sights, there are a couple places, but they pale in comparison. And that's probably why they're not even brought up. And this is something that I've spent some time thinking about, and like opening up a notepad document, pros and cons. Like, I'll pick a spot, and I'm like, okay, build a base here. What are the pros? What are the cons? Okay, move to another area. What if I put a base here? And I'm trying to find areas that have lots of pros with very few cons. It was hard to pick, quote unquote, the best options because it was very marginal. They were all, the places don't suck so badly that they stand out, but none of the places were really so gorgeous. They were all just kind of like standard. Like, it would almost be better if it was hard to build a base there. It'd be a challenge, but it's just kind of like gray, just like lackluster. It's hard to criticize something that's not incompetent or brilliant. It's just like, it's, you know, it's standard. It hits the beats. It doesn't do anything new or interesting, but you know, it's not terrible. You can almost have more fun, you know, watching a terrible movie than a boring one. Am I right? All right, work 1. Not sure what your criteria is for a good base location. If it's uniqueness, try building a base nestled in the largest of the tree spires at the bottom or at the bottom of the copper mining site. That is a good area. That gigantic, massive tree spire, you can either build in the center of it, or you can build around the tree spire to where the tree spire is like in the center of your base. Hey, so that you can look at the tree spire. Because if you put your base in the tree spire, it would be nice to be out of your base looking at your base in the middle of the tree spire. But when you're in your base, what are you looking at? The water all around you. You might get a glimpse of a little piece of flower out of a window. Or you could build your base around the tree spire, which would still be cool to look at out in the water. But while you're in your base, it's like, hey, you can look at this gigantic tree spire. That's a good area. The bottom of the copper mining site, that's a work. If you build a base down there, that's for work. You do not have a lot of creative space in the copper mining site for base building. Not the way that people are thinking, because I can get creative with a single compartment. But people are talking about, I want to build with a large room, I want a big ass base. Not in the copper mining site. Not unless you're like a fucking engineer. If it's access to raw materials, the purple vents is a good location for common resources, and crystal caverns for rare materials. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that the purple vent biome, not the deep purple vent, but just the purple vent biome, you might as well be in the safe shallows. I mean, on average, you're only in 30 meters deep water. 30 meters deep. You build a 2-story base, and that's pretty much, you're building up onto the surface at that point. Now, yeah, there's areas in the purple vents that go down to 80 meters. Okay, cool. But I mean, it's pretty. There's materials. It's a great place to build like a workstation to gather and collect and store your materials. But I mean, once you gather up the materials, I mean, you're looking at a bunch of exploding geysers, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing wrong with that if you're there for the looks. But choosing a place for resources, that only lasts as long as the resources are there. Once you pick up and use that resource, hey, if I choose a resource-rich area to build a base, once all those resources have been collected, I've now got this big-ass base in an area that is no longer rich in resources. That base no longer serves its purpose. It must be used for something else, correct? If I want to build a base somewhere, I will bring the resources. For strategic value, and he's talking about a glacial bay base. Yeah. I'm not sure I don't know. I don't think Luminary was talking about strategic value, though. But he's right. And Warwick 1 has a base at the edge of the world to observe the Leviathans. Hey, so do I. Me and Warwick 1 disagree on a lot of stuff, but we both got void bases to observe the Leviathans. Hey, different people can find common ground. Good for you, dude. I've built and relocated temporary scanner rooms, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, you can build a base in the deep lily pad biome. But I mean, wow, that's kind of like a dead-end area. Leaving that base and returning to it would be a bit of a trip. It's a beautiful place to visit, like a weekend home. Let me go visit my deep lily pad base to relax and, listen to some music while I play. I mean, I don't know. If that's a place that you enjoy being, if you enjoy that place badly enough, you wouldn't care. You'll make that trip happily every single time. Oh, you need something? You'll go all the way up from that 600-meter depths. You'll go all the way up out of the crevice and go find what you want, and then you'll dive all the way back down without a moment's hesitation, and you won't complain because you're happy because you got a nice little base and a nice little place. It gives you a nice little happy face. And if that's what you like, go for it, man. I'm going to be focusing on that too. So you bought a shitty game. Well, let me teach you. Not teach you, but let me show you how you can get some entertainment. Because there are some interesting places, but if you're looking for the same kind of places you were. Alrighty, pretty sure you read that. Luminary replies, yeah, fair enough. People have different opinions and requirements. For lack of a better way to say it, I would build a base that makes sense within the story. Just like the first game, if the sun was the most obvious and abundant power source, then I would build in an area that has lots of sunlight. I would build in a place that has food access, resource access, and a lack of predators. I would also build to be creative in the use of the available base items. I would like to use the larger rectangle room, for example, but it feels like there are only a few places to do that, where it also makes sense within the story. Vortex. Got a nice little reply. Oh, let me pause. I need more coffee. Alrighty, got me a big old cup of coffee. Pardon me. Alrighty, Vortex. Let's get this read up. The first Subnautica compelled me to build almost 20 bases between large, glorified ones and small, functional outposts. And I also had the Cyclops, of course. Hey, me too, man. I got big-ass bases that serve no purpose, just to show it off. And I got small little bases that do everything. I've got like tiny little one-compartment bases where I shove every fucking thing in there. And it's like the most useful base ever because I put it in a spot that serves me. It functions and it serves my needs perfectly. So we got similar base building techniques where most of the superfluous were most of those superfluous. Yes, absolutely. Oh, okay. Wow. I learned how to read, but I built them because I loved Subnautica